Are you always coming up with ideas? Do you marvel at successful business owners? Do you hate being told what to do? Ever take things apart just to see how they work? Are you a dreamer? If you've answered yes to any of these questions, this podcast is for you. Welcome to the Entrepreneurial Enclave with Kevin Wortham, the podcast that focuses on building, maintaining, pivoting, planning, and investing in you, the entrepreneur. But first, a word from our sponsor.
Pro Tapes and Specialties is the world leader in tape manufacturing and specialty conversion with over 40 years of experience. In addition to our pro brand of high-quality specialty adhesive tapes, we provide contract converting services that help improve your profitability, streamline your supply chain, and reduce inventory cost. We offer the most complete range of converting capabilities in the industry, such as cloth tape, double-coated tape, specialty tape, paper tape, masking tape, vinyl tape,
carton sealing tape, adhesive transfer tape, duct tape, foam tape, electrical tape, filament tape, foil tape, reflective tape.
And the tape just keeps on rolling. Visit us online today at www.protapes.com or call us at 800-345-0234. Pro Tapes, it's just how we roll.
Welcome to another fantastic episode of the Entrepreneurial Enclave, Life's Coming Attraction. I am your host, Kevin Wortham. Man, here's this young lady I met some time ago, and I know she's doing great things. I'm bringing Ebony back on the show to give us an update as to what's going on. Ebony, welcome to the platform. How are you?
I'm great, Kevin. How are you today?
I am fantastic. So as we were saying briefly in prep, it is glad to be back.
Yes, I bet.
and so now I've got my own equipment, so that allows me to record and tape, whenever my guests are available. So I'm glad that I learned the lesson that I learned back then, but I was so much, and I didn't realize how much bigger and better that I was than that. So I'm glad to be
that's a blessing in itself.
Yes. So give us an update. What are you doing? How's the magazine going?
So it's a really big change right now.
Okay.
This is why I'm really excited to have this conversation because, as we last spoke, I had Everyday Melanin Magazine,
yes.
And things change, and it's not always necessarily for the worse. It sometimes can be a door opener. So for me, I changed the name of Everyday Melanin Magazine to where it's just Everyday Melanin. So it's not a magazine anymore.
Okay.
I feel like I came into that space and it was right at that moment for what it needed to be at that moment. And, it's almost like my time had passed on that. And now I've moved on to where with dropping the magazine part, I don't feel stuck anymore, if that makes sense. I don't feel like I'm confined to just keeping it at one thing. Now with everything that I love and with everything that I adore and even those that inspire me and motivate me, I can now have that roamed around Everyday Melanin.
Yes.
So I feel a lot happier with it. Not saying that I wasn't with the magazine, but I feel more free.
Okay. Let's slow down for a second. So
sure.
When you had the magazine, well, let's go back. Why did you start the magazine? Let's talk about that first.
So I started Everyday Melanin Magazine because, I'm a photographer and I do graphic design work, all self-taught. And I just felt another moment of feeling stuck. I felt stuck. And I'm like, I want to be able to give back to people in some shape or way, some form of just saying, hey, I see you. You're doing great out there. If nobody else says it, I want to say it.
Yes.
And at the time, I had a lot of friends and family that were just doing amazing things. And I'm like, how can I shine that light on them? And I was playing around with doing some graphic design work, doing a flyer, and then, just practicing in the meantime. And I stumbled upon a way of creating a cover. And I'm like, this cover art seems pretty snaz. Went to sleep one day, and the next moment it felt like in that dream, God brought it to me to say, listen, this is your next step. Do this, bring these people on board, and go forward from there. I got you. And that's exactly what I did. So the placement was literally having a dream, saying, and it was like all those faces that came into my dream ended up being like the start of my magazine. And I will forever be grateful for those people. So it's like knowing that I did photography, photos are in magazines,
yes,
and I love to talk and write. So why not, right? So it all came to, it came to a head to where I said, all right, well, I'm going to start this magazine. And I came up with the name because Ebony is my name, and
yes, Ebony
Magazine's already taken. So I'm like, I need people to understand that, we're Black every day, all day, and we got to love this. We got to own this. And that was how I felt about me. And, I just wanted to, again, shine on those that are in the Black communities and that were just really doing the darn thing. Yes. So that's where it came about. I had the dream, and it came to me in a dream. Literally, It came to me in a dream. So I was obedient at that moment. I did what was necessary.
So now, in the original thought, your original iteration, you were saying that the magazine was going to be what was going to be your distribution area in terms of the magazine? So
for the magazine, then I wanted to, to be online. I actually had a lot of print that I was able to cover for the first 2 years that I did it. I did not get a chance to distribute it to, like, let's say Amazon or through Barnes & Noble or any storefronts, but I had the opportunity to. And that's the other thing. I know a lot of people don't know that. I did have opportunities doing those things. And I will not say I was scared. I just didn't feel that was, I didn't feel like that was at that time what I should have been doing at that moment. I felt like I had a bigger plan.
Okay.
So that's where we are today with the plans, So,
okay.
So while, again, it was able, like, people were able to buy it online, and they were able to buy it through just the fact that I had it sold, the physical copies through the website.
Yes.
It still was great. People still supported, and they were grateful and very honored to be blessed on the cover of the magazine if it was a story about them. So it definitely, it was a spark in the right direction, especially during the pandemic too. Okay. So I feel like I said, I felt like it came at the best time.
Okay. And so where are you now? You dropped the magazine from that thought. Now, so what does it look like now?
So right now it's just a media platform. It's just social media. And I do similar to the same thing as I did before, but I'm not on the writing tip of things. And you'll be the first to hear, and those listening, Everyday Melanin will be a show. Okay. Not going to be a podcast, but I'm looking to, in the works of creating a TV show. Cool. And it will be the same as it was when I still shined a highlight on people, but the twist is I'm finding those, and I am bringing on those that have inspired me in some way and motivate me in some way. So this is now about my personal journey and everyone that has been around me that has contributed in whatever way they may not even know. So when I approach them about this, it'll be kind of a shock to them, because it'll be like, whoa, I did that for you without knowing. So that's where this whole Everyday Melanin is changing and turning to now. Like I said, I felt like I was sitting on something a little bigger. I'm pretty much plan beyond the stars type of person. Yes. And anyone that's listening to this that knows me, they know, when Ed plans something, she goes above and beyond. And this is what this TV show will be. So, that's coming this year still, but
wow.
I don't want to drop any dates because I'm trying to remove myself from dates here.
But Ebony, let me do ask this question, please.
Yeah.
So are you going to be in person? This is going to be online, like a studio kind of setup?
So it is going to be a setup, but it's going to be different setups. Okay. It's going to be wherever I plan on, depending on who I am talking with. It could be groups of people. It could be just one-on-one.
Okay.
I do plan on having some live audiences on some of the topics that we discussed. So it's really just about sitting down and having these real life conversations with people to see, like, for instance, let's say I have this conversation and you're on the podium with us.
Yes.
And the conversation is talking about what you did to reach others through your show, like how you were able to, really just own in on like what you felt. Like maybe you had a moment where you're like, man, like I'm really down and out, but I feel like when I talk to this person today or this person out there, I'm bringing some light to them. And I want to know what in that for you does that for you. Like, why do you do that? Why does that make you feel good? And that's really what this whole show is about going deeper into these conversations. I'm really big on mental health awareness, and that's another kick for why I'm doing this.
Okay. Because
the pandemic really changed a lot for me as well as it did for other people too. But I'm going to be real and say, this show is about me. It's me selfishly being me, but also bringing in those that I know, have an impact on many lives out here that are for the best. So,
gotcha. Now we got to do some unpacking. So So first of all, congratulations. You're doing the pivot. I understand the pivot, but
thank you.
You said a lot when you talk about the pandemic and the mental health. So why do you think that for low income and marginalized Black and brown folk, the pandemic hit us differently when it comes to the mental health concerns?
Well, from my standpoint, and I guess I can speak on experience for this one. A lot of times we're in a position where we're not really taught to speak about what we feel or what we go through, our struggles day in, day out, because we have them. Not to say everyone doesn't, but it's weird because it's like for us on the melanin spectrum, we have those struggles a little harder, a little tougher, and we're kind of taught to just compartmentalize it or just to kind of like, brush it off the shoulder and keep it moving. So during the pandemic, we had to face those like emotions. We had to face those moods, those changes, those, oh my gosh, like I never felt this before because you had to literally sit in it, you know? So that being said, while I was able to sit in my own feelings and emotions and even prior to the pandemic in 2019, I had resigned from a very good paying position in corporate America to become an entrepreneur. And it wasn't no easy feat, but at the same time, through that portion of feeling some sort of, I can call it depression, but I don't want to sit here and say it was all of that. It was just a moment of, oh crap, what do I do? Where do I go now? Like, whoa, wait a minute. And then again, for me, I found solace in the pandemic because while I resigned right before the pandemic, when the pandemic happened, I felt peace.
Gotcha.
Again, not many people felt that, but I'm here to tell you that even through the peace, again, there were still some struggles. So for others out there, I think for the majority, we just are so used to covering up what we felt, what we feel. And I'm here to tell you now, many of us, and I'm so proud of us, are coming out to say, no, I felt tapped. I felt, like giving up, but they found ways to keep going. And I want to know how they found those ways.
Gotcha.
Like, I feel like you do too. I feel like everyone wants to know because it's almost like the antidote to becoming a better you, know, in this new day and age.
Well, I thank you for sharing that. But one of the things that, but to add to that is one of the things that we've noticed that in the pandemic, we've come back with a vengeance.
Yes.
With like this corrective swing of the pendulum.
Yes.
And and I mean, man, it's like you turn on, when I was younger and we thought nothing of it, on a Thursday night, Friday night, you turn on TV every show there were Caucasians in it.
Yeah.
And we thought nothing of it. And then occasionally there would be a black person on the show, and we thought nothing of it. So as soon as you got home from school, you changed your clothes, you went outside, you played, you came back, you did your homework, and everything was white. And we never thought about that, right? But now, since this pandemic, you turn on the TV now, right after the news, there could be 3 shows every show until you look at the 11 o'clock news, where it's black. Like, wow, where did this come from?
Listen, I will tell you this. One woke person will wake up millions.
Absolutely.
And that's where it started for us.
Yeah.
Like, it literally, and enough was enough through certain instances and, cultural differences that we've been going through, again, even right before the pandemic and through our lives forever. So I think we've just turned the clock and we're like, all right, I'm taking my power back, and this is where I start. So everybody's literally being selfish for themselves in a good way, and that's amazing. It really is amazing.
that pandemic was, fortunately or unfortunately, was like a perfect storm. You had the Breonna Taylor, you had the George Floyd, right?
Yep.
Then you had Donald Trump being in office. You just had this whole
enough
notion.
Was enough.
Yes. I mean, we're still feeling some backlash of it now.
Yeah.
Because they're trying
the recent situation too.
They're trying to turn the clock back on everything. Like, we're back like 1900s now, the way they want to treat some of your rights and some of our rights. But I'm so glad that we've gone through the pandemic, and for a lot of us, as you said, it was an eye opener. So let's stop right there, and let's go back to the beginning, because you had said something about photography, and then I want you to bring us full circle again.
Sure. So I'm a photographer.
What was the interest, the love in photography?
Always taking pictures on my phone, and the love for taking pictures of family and friends or myself. And I'm being real. I'm being honest. I love selfies. And my family calls me the selfie queen. So with that, I actually, it's weird. I've always liked to be in front of the camera when I was growing up.
Yes.
My grandmother had a Polaroid. My mother, she then, took on the quick throwaway cameras right after my grandma passed away. So it's almost like, I guess I was kind of drawn to it from what they always captured. They loved taking pictures, and I was just like, in awe, because the pictures they took, sometimes my mom would just be, we could just be driving down south, and she'd just stick the camera out the window and take a picture of trees, just passing by trees down south. And I'm like, I didn't understand the glory in it, but when I got older, I'm like, you know what? Maybe it's just the moment. It has nothing to do maybe with the picture, but the moment that she took it.
Yes.
So in that, I then later became a model, and I said, I'm tired of being in front of the camera. I want to be behind the camera now.
Stop.
Yeah.
Wait, this is new. You know what? This is our second interview. You didn't say this in the first interview. You were
because
a model.
That wasn't important then. It wasn't even important then.
So that's mad. Okay, now thank God I got my own
It probably puts 2 and 2 together now.
Okay, now let's do this. Let's do this now. So you're doing the photography, then all of a sudden you become a model. Now, did you have an agent? What did that look like, and how did you transition into that? Because that's interesting.
So I mean, again, I did that. I kind of got into it when I was in college. For my freshman year, I went to Goldie Beacom. It was in Delaware, Wilmington, Delaware, to be exact.
Yes.
And some of the people that were there, the interest that you kind of like just stumble upon. I'm like, oh, there's this one friend, and she was really into that kind of thing. And I was like, I wonder. So I took a stab at it, and, I enjoyed it. I had the physique for it at the time. I was very athletic. And when I started based on just the fun of it, right?
Gotcha.
Then I took a turn to where I started going to these different casting calls. One of them was actually for American. Actually, I did America's Next Top Model twice. I went and tried to be on it twice.
Okay.
Once was just winging it, and then the second time was after I had my second born child in 2010. Because I was like, oh, I dropped on my baby weight. Let me go see if I can get back into this, right?
Yeah.
And, I froze my behind off only for them to want nothing but European models at that time, European looking models. And I'm like, well, what's the point of us coming out here? So that moment was when I was like, forget all this. I don't want to be behind the camera anymore.
Wasn't that Tyra Banks?
Yes,
And
it was.
And that's what she wanted?
At that time, it was depending on the episode. On that episode,
Gotcha.
they wanted the European look when I went back to try.
Okay.
Again, you could have still gave a European look, but with melanin skin. But I just wasn't fitting the bill. I probably had a little more curves than whatever they wanted. Who knew?
Yeah.
But after all that, I said, all right, forget all this. And plus, I want to say this because it's very important for those that, again, are listening that may have gone into modeling or looking to or want to put their children in. I came across a very real scam-like photographer, and
okay.
he was a little too sneaky for my liking.
Gotcha.
There was a situation where I was getting ready for a photo shoot. I always had a male take me.
Yes.
It never mattered who it was. At the time, it could have been my boyfriend. It could have been my brother or my father.
Yes.
And one time my father took me and he had his friend in the car as well. On our way there, the person that I was getting photographed by, he called my phone. He's like, hey, are you near? I'm like, yeah, I didn't say I said, we are near.
Yes.
We're actually about to pull up.
Yes.
And the guy is like, who's we? I'm like, me, my dad.
Yes.
And then he hung up the phone. So
Wow.
when we arrived and parked at the location, it looked like almost like an abandoned building, but a lot of photography studios are like that, know?
Yeah.
We went inside. I found the actual location of what door I needed to go in, and it was locked. So I was calling the guy back and everything, and he never picked up the phone. And he texted me saying, it should have just been you. And I'm like, what? So yeah, that was the key moment after the Tyra situation and then him.
Mm-hmm.
I just said, I never want for any female or any male, anyone to feel uncomfortable with a photographer
Yes.
a day in their life. And
Yes.
I wanted to give them something, to look forward to on their experiences.
Yes.
I didn't want anyone to feel creeped out, especially like when you're young. At the time, I was about 19, 20. So,
Yes.
Your head is in the clouds. You're looking at things like, yeah, I have an opportunity, when in reality, you could have had an opportunity of actually living your last breath at that moment.
Absolutely.
So,
and thank God you were smart enough
yeah.
to take a male with you, particularly that day.
Oh,
your father.
yeah.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Well, they weren't having it no other way. There was a time where I was really no, I got this. And I really thought in my head I did. But in reality, you don't. Sometimes you just never know.
Yeah.
You could be alone and think you have it, and you just don't. So,
And the funny thing about it is here you go some 20, 30 years later, every model now is coming out on a talk show or coming out with a book and said, I was assaulted by this, I was mishandled by that. And you're like, okay. I mean, you don't say okay, but like, I wonder if there was a male companion or someone around to protect your ultimate interests.
Yes.
But I'm so glad they had the foresight to say, I'm coming today. Awesome.
Oh yeah. And then on top of that too, they make you take some of the weirdest pictures, and I'm like, this is not art. This is not beautiful. So for me, that's when I started taking my power back to say, I'll just take my own pictures of myself, or I'll just take, and I'm sure you've seen it. That's what I do. I literally will set up my tripod and just take my own pictures because I feel comfortable with myself enough to do that. I'm just not there yet with a lot of other photographers yet.
Understood.
But I try to give the grace and, try to be that way for those coming in.
Oh,
it's hard out here. It's tough out here.
Who you telling? But I'm so glad, Ebony, you are withstanding the storm. So now we fast forward. We've got the television show that's going to be coming out soon.
Yes.
And so are you still going to be in the Ewing, Trenton, Mercer County area as you host this show?
No, I don't want to be. My goal is to continue traveling out. So like I have states and cities that I have to like place myself upon. And and I was supposed to actually do it last year. And I say supposed to, and I try not to say supposed to. I try not to live in the past because I know it's still going to happen. But everything happens for a reason. But I realized I was still able to, and I'm happy about this, still able to place my bearings in certain cities just this past year or started this past year. And I just want to be established in those places. That way, when the show comes out, I'm kind of like bouncing around. I realize I'm not meant to be in one place. And I'm trying to just accept that at this moment in life. And it can be a little, not tedious. It can be a little weird for especially my family, my kids and everything. But when we get the chance,
mommy's moving
listen,
again.
listen. And it may not even be the move. It just may be like the time spent in different places. Like in order for me to feel confident that I did what I needed to do in that moment and in that place, then I can say, okay, this place is taken care of. Now I can go ahead to the next place because now that it's like planting seeds. I need to plant my seeds wherever I go. And that's what I'm doing with, what I'll be doing with the TV show, even with my photography, my business in general. Just I'm planting seeds. So watch out, y'all. Watch out, world.
So undergirding all of this is this mean-spirited, and when I say mean-spirited, I mean it's like I'm going to have what I want to have. Right? I don't anything negative about it. This entrepreneurial spirit. When did you realize that you were an entrepreneur? Right?
When I realized I didn't want to work for anyone anymore, and that was in 2019. So
got you.
In 2000, and be honest with you, like in 2019, it was a lot that took place. I was kind of I was in the middle of a separation from my children's father. I was dealing with just the, cultural differences and some racism through my position at my one job. And it was a lot of pressure. It was a lot to take on. I think I just felt completely broken at that moment. And there was a day where I'm bringing God back in. There was a day I was about to wake up to go to work. And it was like God literally standing on my chest, like, what are you doing? And I'm like, I'm trying to get up. And I couldn't move. My chest was like in so much pain. I couldn't breathe. It was so much going on that day. And I ended up, just going to the hospital just to get checked out and everything like that. And that's technically what it was. I had an overall panic attack.
Gotcha.
And after that moment, I realized why I had it that day. I had already prophesied it to myself and planted that seed that the year before I didn't want to be at that job that same following year. So within that month, that's when the year later, that's when it was like, oh, light bulb. I already said to myself and put it in existence, I wasn't supposed to be working here. I was supposed to be, and not that entrepreneur I set out to be. But everything happened when it happened. Timing was, impeccable as usual.
Wow.
And I give a lot to my family. Like I come from a family of entrepreneurs. My grandfather, my uncle, who you recently had interviewed, Tim McCrae, and
that's my man. He's so funny.
Yes, like walking behind the shadows of them and their footsteps and creating my own. It's just I felt like it was already instilled in me. It was in my blood to become that of an entrepreneur. It's not that I can't. I say I will not work for anyone. I want to work with people. So I'd rather work with someone than for them.
Now, so that's right. I think you were in some of those episodes, some of his comic episodes.
Yes, as Kiki. I was Kiki. I definitely have a little acting under my belt as well from him. Oh my
God! So
I played a role in a movie. A friend of mine. It was a lot of things. I do everything.
So we're gonna give a shout out to Brother Tim again. That's all right. All right.
Yes.
So now let's do the crystal ball. I'm going to do the crystal ball with you different. Most times with the guests, I say 3 years, 5 years, but with you and always moving, a year from now, we're looking at the crystal ball. What have you done? What have you accomplished?
Okay. So a year from now, I have my own studio space to pretty much have the show, the TV show. That's going to be like the home base,
gotcha.
But also to run my other business. So that is photography. That is my graphic work.
Yes.
That is to kind of have a hub for the Everyday Melanin brand.
Gotcha.
And I also have my Ebony brand, which kind of creates, or it's kind of like the mother of all the other brands underneath it.
Yeah.
I teach dance and I also coach basketball. So I'm like, my hands are always in something and I just like to give back. So that is it. I'm going to be doing all of those things still continuously.
Yes.
Nothing's going to change in that except for more people are going to be aware of what I do. More people are going to be, in it because they too want their hands in. And, I feel like there's something for everyone with what it is that I'm, pushing out. So the goal is to really just continue giving back the best I can, as well as, benefiting in the best way possible to keep myself afloat and, positively, spiritually and physically well.
Gotcha. Now,
yeah.
What would you say, and how would you encourage someone who's teetering on the thought of becoming an entrepreneur? How would you move them to become an entrepreneur? What would you say to them?
Well, I would tell them pace themselves.
Yes.
Rome wasn't built overnight. We know this, but my God, he is definitely able, and stay prayed up and do the work.
Yes.
You got to do the work. You got to put in the work. Sleep when you can. Definitely sleep when you can, because you can't run off of, fumes. You can't run off of e-battery. And just to stay around those that are where you want to be. Like, get around those that are where you want to be. Or get around those that know more than you do. Because if you're learning, you can't possibly learn at the level at where you're at. Not saying that it's not good for you. It's just there's really no growth there. So, get around like-minded people, like-minded circles, create your tribe based on that, and, keep it moving.
Wow.
Don't go back.
Definitely don't go back. Now, I got to ask this question.
Yeah.
With this new show that you are coming up with, this new business venture, at any point did you put together the business plan?
Yes.
Okay, good. Whew.
I did.
Good.
And it's funny because it took so the changes started the beginning of the year.
Yes.
And I was already planning that. So originally it would have just been solely a podcast.
Okay.
But me being the person that I am, I need more. And I know where I should start with my foundations and everything.
Yes.
But I'm just such an eager person, and I'm all about, again, learning and teaching myself things, or just, flowing behind those that are already doing it. That I've already mapped it all out. I already have, at least 5 episodes written out that are not, they're not live, but they're episodes in which, it's real conversations.
Okay.
And I already have the people that, are in the process of being reached out to, I will say that.
Gotcha.
And, just everything is how it should be right now.
Gotcha. This is wonderful. So I am going to tell you, I am so proud of you. I am wishing you nothing but success. Now,
thank you.
Do you still do photography if someone says, my daughter or my son is having a football game or a prom?
Yes. Yes, I do.
Okay,
yes, I do.
They can call you and you will come out and you'll do that, right?
Absolutely. Actually, so I'm partnered with my daughter's middle school at the moment, Fisher
Yes.
Middle School.
Yes.
And we're doing a family fun portrait day where I'm going out and I'm taking portraits of all families for $60, and the proceeds go to the school activities there. So things like that, like whatever you guys need me for, as long as I'm available and, I'm able to handle it, I'm out there for you. So,
Wow.
I can, when ready, I can give my website for that. Again, it's under, my Ebony brand
Hey,
because
well,
everything is under that now.
so let's take a break real quick and let's talk about
Sure.
who you are and how people can reach you. We want to promote you and support
Sure.
you. Okay, I'm ready, Ebony.
So, hi everyone. I'm Ebony, and you can reach me at my Ebony brand co.com. So it's my Ebony brand company.com. And under that, it's pretty much the umbrella of my photography, my graphic design, me dancing or sharing things that I love about dance, and any other thing that you can think of in what I do and what I love to do, as well as Everyday Melanin is on there too. And I didn't say this also, Kevin, I sell apparel, I sell products, accessories, and it's all under Everyday Melanin as well as my Ebony brand. So, it's a lot of pop cultural type of different shirts and
Yes.
hats, hoodies, sweatpants, sweats, whatever you can think of. If I come up with the idea, I'm putting it on a shirt because that's how my creative mind thinks. I'm like,
Yes.
ooh, this is great. Let me put this on this. And, that has been going really well too. So
Awesome.
yeah. But
Man.
all of the things that you're looking for our social media handles are on myebonybrandco.com. So you can
Awesome.
find everything there.
Oh man, I was, and I'll be full disclosure. When I was talking to Tim,
hmm
and we talked afterwards, I said, "Man, this interview is so much better this time than the
Yep.
first time."
Yep.
And because I think his interview, we were almost an hour and 5 minutes, something like that.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
we got to, because when I guess rebranded or repackaged myself, I
hmm
came out as allowing the entrepreneur to tell the unabridged story. So
Ah.
I want to be able to make sure that the entrepreneur has every opportunity to tell their story. What went right, what
Right.
went wrong, and
hmm
in that process, what were they thinking about? And some of the thoughts that perhaps they would never share. So again, I am loving this. Not that I didn't love that conversation,
No, listen. I'm with you. I'm
right?
getting goosebumps talking about it because
Yeah,
it just
yeah,
feels right.
yeah. And so this time around, I am like, So I mean, you know what? I know the platform today is supposed to be about you, but I just want to share some tidbit things, right?
Absolutely.
And this is and you are making me feel this way. So no, listen. So when I first got into podcasting, it was the industry standard. If you're gonna post once a week, it should be 30 minutes or less, right?
hmm
And my very first interview, guy, him and I went to school together, and he was such a great storyteller, right? He went an hour. I think it was like an hour and 30 minutes.
Wow.
And I'm sitting there at night as I'm doing the editing, and I'm fretting because in the back of my mind, I've allowed someone to say that the interview should be no longer than 30 minutes. And if it's going to be longer, it should be part 1, part 2, part 3. And then
Wow.
I said, you know what? I am an entrepreneur. I am in control of my own destiny. I am going to set the new standard. Bam, I put it out, right? When I put it out at that time, I think I had like 5 episodes under my belt. That was the most listened to episode. And it was and at that time it was also the longest, right?
Wow.
And so here I am some 36 episodes in now, and my average episode is like 55, 65 minutes.
So that means you need to talk more. No.
Well, no, not that I need to talk more, but
the person, yeah.
Exactly. You know, that
there's an interest there.
Yes. You know, and I had to say to myself, like, listen, if you've got someone on the hook, give them all the information and let them decide as to when they want to push and play and resume.
Yeah.
But don't keep them coming back, because, you know, in my mind, in this space that we're in right now, people don't have a lot of time.
You're
So they make and choose what they want to listen to, and if it's something good, and if there's a story that they want to create, I mean, they want to finish listening to, they will do part 1, part 2 in their minds at their own timeline. Not us create it for them. And
absolutely.
And ever since then, man, I've been rocking and rolling. And people saying, "Man, Kevin, that was a good story," because, you know, you allow the person to have this platform and you can dig in deeper. So thank you. So when you talk about just doing your own thing and just not giving a damn, I'm like, I feel you. So.
I mean, that's how. And it took me a while to get here, though, Kevin, because I've always been the one to worry about what others thought of me, what others felt of me, and be like, "No, Ebony, you shouldn't do that. You shouldn't wear that. You shouldn't look like that. You shouldn't be like that." And I'm like, "Well, what should I be?" And then it literally, once I finally got to the point where I'm like, "Well, screw all of y'all, because you're not paying my bills. You're not taking care of whatever's over my head, my roof." Like, so, you know, once I got to that point, and it's, you know, respectfully to those that, you know, felt like they knew what was best for me. And I'll be honest, I'm learning that, especially with my kids now, too. I'm like, I don't want to be that person to be like, I know what's best for you, because I don't. I will never know what's best for my children. I'll know what's good for them, but never know what's best, you know, until, of course, when they're a little older. But until then, I was just like, for me, I'm tired of people writing my story for me. Like, I'm tired of that.
Yes. That's why I am so excited for you. And that's why listening to your story, you allowed me just to share that piece with you. That was
absolutely. Thank you for sharing that. I appreciate that. It's nice to know it's a lot of us out here that are feeling the same way.
Oh yeah. Oh my God. But, you know, so for me, the podcast, like you, this was a pivot. Because during the pandemic, you know, my background has always been, you know, entrepreneurial training. So I've always been in person. Right. And so with the pandemic coming, I had to do the pivot. And I said, what do I do? So we did some entrepreneurial programming online. And we did the podcast as an extension to interview entrepreneurs of color to talk about, you know, what went right, what went wrong, but giving them the platform to interview entrepreneurs, right? And so since then, you know, I tell you that I interview international, national, local, regional entrepreneurs at various stages of their career, and so if you look at the catalog, you see that we're doing just that, right? And so it's so exciting. And so what I'm trying to do, like you, I am just trying to keep the content positive. I'm trying to build the brand, but I'm also trying to bring additional things to this platform and two other platforms that I want to create. So listen, you might be sharing your energy with us, but I'm feeding off of you because you are so excited. This is all right. This is all right. Man.
Thank you, Kevin. I appreciate it. And I appreciate you reaching back out. Trust me, like, it does not go. I was really nervous though when I first before I getting on today, because I'm like, Ebony, just talk about what you know you're doing right now. Yes. And you know, sometimes we'll be a little hard on ourselves. We'll be like, but is that enough? and I'm being real. Like, if I'm being transparent here, I'm like, but what I'm doing is like, you know, like somebody could do that in their sleep, maybe. Like, but again, I had to get out of my head, and I'm like, nope, it's going to be a great show because it's with Kevin. And like you said, you allow us to really just, you know, go in and be who we are and tell you about what we have going on without the judgment, without the, you know, just it's a freeing platform. Yes. And I appreciate that.
And at the same time, I'm going to guide you because I know that there's some questions that the audience may like to know that we may not pick up.
Plus, I can ramble. So
this is not rambling. This is actually you speaking wisdom. This is not rambling.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, you got that.
Okay,
you got that.
Right. So let's do, before we move into the next part of it, one more time. How can people be in contact with you?
Okay, so everyone, you can follow, or you can, check out my website and subscribe.
Yes.
My Ebony brand, CO. Ebony is spelled EBONY, and it's .com. So my Ebony brand, CO.com. You can find all of whatever it is I'm doing on there. I do try to keep things updated. I do blogs now more. Again, I've done it years ago, but I started again. And then once, Everyday Melanin show is released, officially, because this is the unreleased. This is the unofficial release today. But once it's officially released, everybody will be able to, dive back in and see what's going on. But you can follow my social media platforms. It is linked to all of my website pages. So you guys tap in.
Gotcha. And don't take this the wrong way. You being a woman, right? You know fashion trends, right?
I guess.
Okay.
I wear what I like.
Okay.
I'll put it that way.
So, well, two thoughts. One, do you think you would go back into modeling, or doing or creating your own platform to assist other models or potential models?
It's so funny you say that, because I get asked this all the time, especially from one of my good fellow photographer friends, Will Utley. He will always tell me, he'll be like, Ebony, why are you not modeling? You said you're not a model, and you're modeling right now. You just went in front of the camera and you're modeling. And I'm like, no,
Gotcha.
But for me, I do what I like to say are like little mini photo shoots, right?
Okay.
And sometimes they're kind of like, it's almost like having a speed date, but it's speeding through the photos with different models that want headshots and stuff. And what I do is I give some form of, direction to them when they come in, whether they're new or whether they've been modeling for years. If I can help in any way, I help that way. As for me personally, going back in front of the camera for purposes like, maybe being featured in certain things, I'm not going to oppose it, but I just mentally, I haven't gotten in that right headspace yet again.
Gotcha.
I'm still kind of just having fun with it for myself.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Now, going back to the trendy piece, right? So I'm on Facebook yesterday, and there was a couple of proms across the country. And help me out, because I'm pretty much like you. Whatever I feel within reason, that's what I'm wearing that day. I'm not going to try to embarrass you or embarrass anybody else, but I'm going to be okay. But when did these prom dresses become so long?
So
like, and then when are people in the background, like mothers telling the dude, stand on the dress? Like, what?
Okay, so I must have missed this, because I'm in the know but out of the know.
Okay.
So a lot of things I don't really pay much attention of, because it just doesn't pop up in my feed as much.
Yeah.
However, if I were to see something like that, no, you're not standing on my daughter's prom dress. I'm sorry. Like, that's my opinion. That's not something that I would, deem as appropriate for what I felt prom, like the idea of prom was. Prom should, to me, be, classy, a timeless, a timeless moment in a child's life to kind of position them and transition them into adulthood in a sense.
Yeah.
So if standing on your prom dress is transitioning you to adulthood, I did something wrong.
Yeah. But
I did something wrong.
And what's so funny, and you and I can have this conversation. I think I'm old. Well, obviously,
I mean,
listen. These
I'm
guys,
I'm old too then.
These guys are paying good money to wear high water pants. I mean, so
yeah. So
where'd that come from?
So for me, I do some of them I can find some style in that, but I've realized too that for us, the melanin, the Black community, we like to be trendsetters. Like, we love to start the trends and have it for ourselves, as our own. Because you won't see a lot of people out here that are not Black wearing the high-watered pants or the long prom dresses with a guy standing on it. Or if you do, I haven't seen it. So I think it's all about them just setting those trends. And again, some of them can be fashionable, but I get what you're saying. It's like sagging your pants. Like, that was to me, that was never a trend. But people are still out here doing it.
Yeah, they're still doing it.
Yeah, they're still doing it. But the high watered ones, it gives a little bit like of the boat life, I guess.
Listen, if you want your pants to come above your ankles, and put fucking shorts on. And that's the first time I've used the big F word on my show.
You definitely dropped the F bomb. You go, Kevin. Be unapologetic on this show. You go.
No, because I
told you, if I bring that big energy, you better do it.
Yes.
It's your show.
Listen.
I know you felt passionate about it. I don't
understand it. I don't understand it, right?
I get it. And one thing I've learned too is we are okay with owning our own opinions. People got to understand what's your opinion is your opinion. Nobody should argue the fact that it's your opinion. Yeah. You can feel however you feel. Yeah. I know you probably are like, I would have never. And again, I find some of the ways okay. Some of them, I can look at it and be like, okay, that's not cool. That's not cool at all.
Now you know. I got a name drop now, and I apologize. So I went to Notre Dame High School, right?
Oh,
okay. And I think once I finish this, I'm gonna. I may tag you with your permission. I may tag you in my in my prom outfit.
Absolutely.
So you will see the difference of this is how you went to prom back then versus
and this is how you go now.
Like these guys are going like. I saw one guy, he's got his shirt open, there's no tie, there's no bow tie.
Yeah, they're doing that now.
Wearing sneakers, right? But see,
they're doing that now.
But here's my thing. Here's my thing. This has always been my thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
The people who are setting the trends, right?
Mm-hmm.
These are the ones that are in the entertainment industry, so I expect that from them.
Yeah.
But when you're in high school, right? And you may go on to college, and you've got this 8-foot long train. Like, where the hell are you going?
So now I gotta ask and pose this question and be devil advocate to you.
Yeah.
Why can only those in the entertainment industry do it, and those at the high school, coming out of high school, maybe college, that will not do it if they were dressing the same? What's the difference? What makes it different? Because they have the money and the fame, or what makes it?
For me, yes. Mm-hmm. For me, yes. Because if you're in high school and you're living in Trenton, right, and you're spending $8,000-$9,000, and we know that 50% of Trenton is unemployed, like, okay, come on now, we got our priorities wrong. And I'm not saying just Trenton. I'm just saying any urban area.
I get it.
And maybe this is the wrong platform, but I just have to.
Your platform.
No, I'm just saying. I just have to
say what you want.
I just have to bite my tongue on that one. That's all.
No, I completely get it. Right? I get what you're saying. I always look at it like this: their money, not my business. But when it becomes my business, then I start, questioning certain things and going into it like, but you could have used that for X, Y, and Z instead of that. But okay, who am I to, I do get it. And it's something that we've all, I think, experienced once in our lifetime. Like, at least one time. We probably would have been out here buying something that we knew we had no business getting. Yeah. No business getting. And we're looked at like, so, got that and didn't want to just spend your money on something that's more,
That's all. you know, and I sit here sometimes. I'm on Facebook, I'm on TV, and man, I'm just cringing because I don't understand it. And then I say to myself, man, I'm probably really old.
No, but it can be very easy for us to get caught up in that stuff too.
But you know, that you know, you started this because you said you were a model. It's all your fault.
Because I was a model. All right, I'll take that blame. But I'm not taking the blame that you're cringed. But I'm not taking the blame that you get cringed by all the other stuff.
Oh my God! I'm like, you could
I can't help you with, Kevin.
Listen, when we were coming up, you couldn't walk down the street with high waters. They like, oh man.
I know they will get on you in a heartbeat. I know.
Now,
times have changed.
If you don't show your ankles, it's like, oh man, you corny. Like what? You know. Yep. And I remember going to Snyder's, and some of the guys out there may know this better than I. Used to be on Perry Street, right?
Oh,
I worked and I begged my parents, you know, my little allowance, little paper route. I wanted to spend $30 for some leather sneakers. $30 at that time was a lot of money. You hear me?
Wow. I know it was.
Right?
I'm just thinking about the gas prices.
Right. That was the style then. But now these guys they're wearing $300 and $400 sneakers to the prom. Like they don't even wear shoes no more to the prom. A lot of them don't. But okay, I digress. We'll get off of that. But listen.
No, you're right though. You're right. You're right. I think it's okay though in seeing the changes rather than, and it's not to you, but it's to anyone, rather than like put a nose up to it. Maybe just say, you know what? If that's what they like, that's what they like. However, it's okay to accept and embrace change as we know it, because what you guys did then, you'll have some of the, you know, younger ones now look at y'all and say kind of the same thing or feel the same way, if that makes sense. Like, what were y'all thinking?
Yeah.
Come on, what is that? You know what I mean?
Yo,
definitely.
Listen, you couldn't tell me back then with my cummerbund and bow tie on, right? And my rented shoes. I wasn't as sexy as flies.
And what was your haircut? What was your haircut?
Oh, I can't remember my hair. I might have had like a little afro. That's all.
Gotcha.
You know,
because some had afros, some had the curls, some had, you know.
I probably had the makeshift afro with Jerry curls. I don't know. But you know, again, you know, we can talk for days and days on this.
Absolutely.
And you know, and I think, you know,
it's a great conversation to have, though.
Yeah.
Great conversation.
And it clearly tells you where we are generationally. So, would this be some of the subject matter that you would be covering on your show?
To be honest with you, it may.
And don't let me get on the never mind. The eyelashes. Oh my God.
No, some of them, if it comes out as if your hand is waving above your eyebrows to everybody, then no, that's a little too extreme. But, you know, I'm not one to judge on things. I'm one to talk about what I will and will not do.
Gotcha.
And leave it at that. I always feel to each his own, you know. I tend to keep my mouth closed on certain things.
I may have to start doing that too. But
no, you can say whatever you want. It's your discretion. It's to your discretion.
Yeah, we went
and it's your show.
We went way left on the entrepreneur experience.
Listen, but just know that there are people out there making a lot of money off of these things we're talking about. So kudos to them.
Absolutely.
Wherever you can make a dime.
Yeah, absolutely. But that's the craziness. Woo.
Yes, absolutely it is.
Okay. But listen, so what's that?
That was thunder. I don't know if you heard it, but I heard thunder.
Yeah, I heard it too. I'm like, man, who's driving the truck?
No, that is definitely thunder.
Okay. They said some showers today, perhaps. But listen, I want to wish you nothing but success.
Thank you so much.
Your energy is contagious. I hope was this a good interview for you, huh?
Absolutely. It was, you know what? It was hilarious. It was fun. And you allowed me to, again, come on and be who I initially am.
And you encouraged me to be who I was. Oh my God.
Yes. Dropping F-bombs. You go, Kevin. You go. And I had the nerve to say darn. I could have said damn, but you know.
You see, I dropped the F-bomb. I was heated. I was like, man.
No, but it was a great time. I thank you so much for the opportunity. I really do.
Listen, I thank you. I want you to continue to encourage our young folks, or just encourage people in general to pray, follow your passion, and just move on. Now, with the time that we have left, I want you to say something inspirational that'll make my podcast look good, like I'm really doing good work. Say something inspirational to the audience.
Okay. Inspiration piece. So, I'll say it based on, what I felt today.
Yes.
If in any way or reason you feel you cannot, give it a try anyway, because you'll never know what you'll have at the end of when you do it. Like it could be the best thing in the world for you. Again, for me today, I came on scared, nervous, and uncertain and doubtful. And right now I'm feeling elated, motivated, and inspired to jump on this computer and get probably so much work done. So, if you feel like you cannot, try it anyway. Give it a try anyway. Through all the nerves and stuff.
Awesome.
You'd be surprised.
Awesome. Ebony, fantastic as always. I'm going to wish you nothing but success, continued blessings.
Thank you.
And I always extend this platform to you. So if and when you would like to come back and give us an update, you are always welcome to do so.
Thank you so much, Kevin. I really appreciate you, and I had fun.
Absolutely. Let's talk and text in a minute.
Okay.
All right. Bye-bye.
Take care.
Yep.
Bye-bye.
That concludes another episode of the Entrepreneurial Enclave with Kevin Wortham, the podcast that focuses on building, maintaining, pivoting, planning, and investing in you, the entrepreneur. We hope you found this episode informative and enlightening. If you have any questions or comments about any of our episodes, please call 609-731-9311 or email kevin@minding-our-business.com. We look forward to joining us for our next one. Until next time.